You also do a ride that I'm real interested in history, or as you've described it, in Canton.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that and how that came about. And
That one there
the history
again
there.
is that's kind of a hidden type of a deal that came across years ago. That this man, I can't even remember his name, but he started it out there. Anyway, we found out there are Yanktons there, there are Crow Creek, Ogallala, Lakota, every reservation.
And it's called a Hiawatha.
Hiawatha Indian Insane Asylum, they called it. Anyway, we were asked to come there one year, and the first year I went, it was just me and my wife. And I took the Sacred Horse Society staff with me, and I just carried it in. Helped with Grandpa Joe came and did some prayers, but that's was the Indian Insane Asylum in Canton. And some of the people there, the old man I told you about,
Right.
he's about 80, 90. He said they used that place for, it was a money maker for the city of Canton.
Really?
Where they would say, come and watch the Indian women make dolls, and the women, they would have no furniture, just sitting in this big room on the floor making dolls.
What years was that?
I don't know.
Like 20s, 30s?
Probably around there. And like you said, with that grandpa, the guy you want to meet.
Yeah, that's
and
really important.
He's sharp with his memory, and their family owned the farm that was right there, and they provided the eggs, the milk, some of the meat to this asylum. And he said none of the people were crazy.
Yeah.
You know, they just living their life the way they lived it. And if you didn't do it this way, you were crazy or a witch.
Yeah. Put you
devil
in there.
worshiper or whatever you are.
So sad, so sad.
And
how many's in that cemetery there?
there's like 130, I believe. I know John B. Healer, he called and he was supposed to bring me the actual. He knows where everyone is at. He has that now. We were looking for that when I was the THPO director.
Yeah.
Because my goal was to repatriate them, dig them up, take them home, no matter where they're from.
Right.
And there was a couple there that they came all the way from, God, I can't remember, way down south. They've been looking for their grandpa forever, and he was there. And they wanted to dig him up right there and take him home, but there's a process. I don't know why they couldn't, but
right.
There's, you know how it is in
right.
this modern day. Yeah. There's paperwork, things you got to do.
Regulations.
And I can't remember what tribe, but they come back every year, and they, you know, the first year we seen him, man, it just brought tears to my eyes because of. Look, that was my grandpa. I didn't know where he was, and here he is in this grave. That.
Are there a number of people from Yankton here that have their relatives?
Yeah, I think there's like 13.
That have relatives there.
Yeah. Yep.
And are they part of this healing process?
A lot of them do come. Some don't know.
Yeah.
But as THPO director, that's what I was trying to do was get with other THPO and then do that process of repatriation.
Right.
Federal act now.
Right.
But I needed to find out where they were.
Right.
And now John has that, so. But I'm not sure if some are just thrown in there.
And then
one
follow
time.
that story. What happened after them? That they were shipped out.
Oh, with the grandpa, when we talked to him, he had a friend. I can't remember his name. He had Indian. He was a young boy then, and his friend was a young native boy. I'm not sure. I think some of the doctors had gotten women pregnant and had kids, you know, too. He was telling us things like that. But anyway, his friend, he said, they had this train. If you ever go there, there's a train track about maybe 100 yards from the graves right across the road. And we ride along that when we come in. I was thinking about what this man was telling me. And he said his friend had told him that if they ever put him on this train, he was going to escape somehow, I guess, you know. He said in the middle of the night, or one night, in the middle of the night, I guess, he said the trains were just, they didn't have boxcars, they just had bars on them, open, and there was just a bunch of them. He said in the middle of the night, next day when he went to go see everybody and his friends, and they were all gone.
He just loaded them up in these cattle cars.
And they shipped them to Washington up that way.
Wow.
getting what we need for this project?
Yeah, no, we get, anyway, that's.
I gotta keep him focused.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Or we'll
yeah.
be here till
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. No, that is very fair. And we'll talk more about that later, but that's a terrible, and one of the many terrible atrocities.
That's the guy you need to get. I want to give you his number, that Ross.
What's his last name?
I don't know. He's
Oh.
he works with the group that puts that on. That
Oh,
ride.
okay.
His name is Ross.
That old man's name, you don't.
No, I don't. I
Yeah.
can't remember. But
Oh.
we did interview him once.
You
A
did?
little bit. Jim
Yeah.
did, and he's got that. on
Video
his
or
phone.
audio
No,
or-
just on a phone.
Oh, okay. So there is some, but we got to get to him before he passes. The way you
Yeah.
sounded sound important. Okay, so in finalizing what we just happened yesterday, honoring the elder, that's going to continue.
Yeah, I want to do it. I want our younger people to take over and do it. You know, right now I'm busy. I'm doing other things too, but I want to keep this going to teach them to respect them. You know,
Right.
and I'm gonna leave it up to them to keep it going. I'll go as long as I can. You know,
Right.
with the help of my wife and my family
Right.
and whoever. Our chairman's a big supporter, and I want to
He
give
is.
a big shout out to Robert. He's a really good man, and I'm really
So do that
One
part
more
again
line.
because then that could lead into where I've interviewed him today. You want to
that?
thank.
I
Just-
wanna have a big thanks to our tribal chairman Robert Fleinhawk for everything he does. You know, he's real humble. He's a very humble man, so he don't like to be up here. He's down out of the way and quiet guy, but he's a big supporter. He was there, like I said, when we gave the headdress back, and I wanted him to come with us when we took the pipe back. And there's one more thing I want to put in there on that. When we took the pipe, the family that had it, they wanted to smoke it one more time before they took it back. So on our way out, we met at the river at the Big Bend Dam. Fort Randall Dam.
Right.
My mine's in Fort Thompson.
Right.
Anyway, we stopped there, and then we got out, and they did the pipe song. They loaded it, and we went right down to the river. And there was one piece of ice in the whole river, probably maybe big as this corner, probably about that thick. And when we started to smoke, here come an eagle. He landed on that ice.
Wow.
You had to be there to see it. You
Yeah.
know?
Wow.
While we smoked, he sat there on this one piece of ice.
That's
just low.
powerful.
And we
That's
smoked it, and then we put it away, and we said Madakiase, flew off.
Flew off.
It was,
Wow.
you had to be there to believe it.
Right. Well, last week, one of the guys that made the pipe in Winona, when we had our 1st Winona Dakota homecoming, was an older gentleman then who's just a average, maybe 8th grade education, white guy that had worked in maintenance or something for the high school for all his life. He had this vision that he wanted to help do something to welcome he wrote a poem called The Tear. I got a copy of it right here.
I went off track again.
Yeah. Anyway, but during that, he died, and his family got a hold of me and Ed, and they wanted us there because he would come to see us every year. He'd come back with his family because he wrote the poem, his pipe, beautifully handcrafted. He gave that to the Chief Wabasha, to the Dakota people.